Hey, what's going on, guys? Michigander Man Rob here, and I remember a few days ago I told you guys I was giving you a little tease on what I was working on, but today is the day I'm going to let you guys in on the surprise. See, nowadays we got Van Andel Arena, we have I-96 Speedway, we got Fifth Third Ballpark. We got the Marne racetrack in Marne. Well, 80 years ago, we never had any of that stuff. 80 years ago, there wasn't much of anything around. Until one day in 1931, a man named Clarence Bigalow decided that he was going to build a baseball stadium at the corner of Division and 39th Street. And the name of that baseball stadium was Bigalow Field in Wyoming. And it stood probably not right exactly at this corner because it's changed in like 80 years. A lot has changed on this corner in 80 years. The field, this would have been the main entranceway, would have been from this corner, like somewhere directly in this spot right here. 80 years ago, this Wash World and this building, none of this was here. None of this was here. So the entrance, this would have been the grandstand. The grandstand would have been somewhere close to the corner of the street here, but the grandstand went all the way past McDonald's, close to where Jim Williams Motel is. And then the grandstands went that way, all the way down almost to Lorraine Street. And then right here, in the middle, somewhere, would have been the entrance to Bigalow Field. And it was a Bigalow Field right across the top of it. But in the grandstands, there were storefronts, like of, like a, there was like a laundromat, there was a hobby shop, there was a cleaners, there was a small furniture store, etc., etc. But there was like all small storefronts right built into the grandstand going across Division. Not only baseball was played at Bigalow Field. Baseball was the majority that was played there, but a lot of other events were at Bigalow Field. They had fireworks displays. They had circuses. The circuses would have been $1 in the 1930s and 40s to go to the circus. There was like carnivals that were at Bigalow Field. Well, like I said, the grandstand, I'm standing right where the grandstand would have stood, and the field would have been right over this way, right where the McDonald's is. But not only that, one of the most popular things they had at Bigalow Field was the midget car races. They would bring in about 7,000 people on a weekend, and there were some really famous midget car races at that time. racers, I should say. The grandstand, the Bigalow Field, could hold about 10,000 people. Hard to believe that this whole corner could hold that many, but it was pretty magnificent. It was pretty large, if you guys could picture it. But like I said, the midget car racers were one of the most popular things at Bigalow Field. And I believe I was told the story was when the midget car races would have came in, this was all the grandstand all the way down. And it went behind where the McDonald's would have been the entrance to get in, where the midget car racers would come through. And I am not sure if this is the entrance or not, but the cars would come right off the street, right through the back of the grandstand, and go right onto the field. The midget car racers were awesome. Everybody loved the midget car racers. But basically, I'm not totally exactly sure, because this has all changed in 80 years. This duplex wasn't here, of course. And then this, I'm not sure if this would have been the entrance to the field or not. But one of my friends was saying it probably is, that they refurbished it and did what they had to do for the McDonald's entrance. But that was probably the entrance right there, going all the way down. And this would have been all the field, all the way through here. And I'm probably basically standing where the grandstand still was. This would have been all the field. And right through here, where the McDonald's is, would have been the area where first base was. And the cars would have came through, somewhere through here. And that was first base, and the cars, this would have been the track, going completely around first base for the midget cars. And this was all, most of it was Bigalow Field right through here. All this was first base, second base, third base, home. Hard to tell now, 80 years later. But midget car races were probably one of the top events that Bigalow Field had in its 25-year history that it was here, the short time that it was here. But not only that, like I said, it held baseball. Baseball was the main thing it did. In 1937, the World Series, New York Yankees played a game here at Bigalow Field. And we're talking like big stars, guys. Big stars like Joe DiMaggio, and the late great Lou Gehrig. Both of those guys stepped foot in what is now a parking lot, what is now a McDonald's, on the on our field, on Bigalow Field. It's hard to believe that you could picture them pitching a game or doing their batting practice or anything along here, getting ready to hit that big game, play the game in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They only played that one time in 1937. Hard to believe. But if you ask people nowadays that are walking around here inside the McDonald's, driving their cars past this area or whatever, they couldn't probably possibly tell you what used to be here in this area. And I've looked around to see if there's any kind of placard, any kind of memorial to Bigalow Field or anything. There's absolutely nothing. Not like they have like downtown on some of the buildings saying what used to be there or anything. No memorial, no historic landmark of any kind. So I'm doing my best to make my own memorial, I guess I should say, through YouTube. And so hopefully some people appreciate what I'm trying to do. The races for a full day of midget car racing, it was only 40 cents to get in here for a full day of family activity. That is hard to believe. Nowadays you can't get anything for 40 cents. Even the legendary Satchel Paige played a game here. In 1941, 7 years before he was able to join the majors, when he was in the Negro Leagues, before that was legal for him to join the majors, he pitched a game here in 1941. And believe this or not, guys, in 1946, the legendary Bob Hope did a comedy concert here. And what they did, the story I heard was what they did, they set up a stage right near center field of the ballpark for him, and he did his concert right there in front of a crowd of 3,000 to 4,000 people or more. But like I was saying, nobody here, people walking, people driving up, won't possibly know that Bigalow Field even existed or even was here. There's a lot of pictures online saying, or showing this area, but it's changed in like 80 years. In the late 40s, Clarence Bigalow sold the property, sold the field to a promoter and a businessman named Jim Williams, hence the name Jim Williams Motel, because he owned all this property, all this land. And I do believe that, I'm not sure, but there is a picture with a pretty big mansion, and I believe the mansion sat it's hard to tell because it's changed so much, but the mansion, I believe, sat somewhere in this general area right here, because you could see in the picture, I'm not sure exactly, but you could see the mansion first somewhere this general area, or maybe over here, but like right in this area. But then you could see the lineup of all the trees, all the trees here, and you can see the lineup of all the trees in the picture. And then if it went direct somewhere, like I said, all this has changed. Somewhere in this area where there was a fence that separated the two properties, and it went somewhere basically through this area right here. I'm not totally sure, but that's what it looks like. None of this, you got a picture, none of this was here, none of these buildings, and this was all open land. There was nothing here. Such a legendary place. It has legendary stars here, and now it basically doesn't look anything like it did in what I've seen in pictures. It doesn't look absolutely nothing. There's no way to recognize this. I've tried to look for landmarks, but this one was a difficult one, guys. But basically, like, I could tell right here where these trees are, and there was a mansion that sat somewhere in this general area. Was the mansion, or it could have been, that's what I'm thinking. The mansion was like in this general area, because you see these line of trees, and you could see where the baseball field, the first base was right where McDonald's is. The grandstands were completely around there, and the fencing went somewhere through here and cut right through this way. And all of this here was just open, empty space, empty lot. There was a few rooms, but that's it. Nothing like it is now. The last baseball game was played at Bigalow Field on July 16th, 1952. We also had a minor league team, the Grand Rapids Jets, played games here. And the reason the stadium is not here no more is because nobody knows how, but it caught fire in July of 1952. And the whole stadium, the whole grandstand, half the grandstand just burnt completely down to the ground. But Clarence Bigalow, like I said, he sold the property to Jim Williams, and Mr. Bigalow passed away in 1950. And after Mr. Bigalow passed away, Mr. Williams bought the Grand Rapids Chicks baseball team. That's the one they made famous from the movie A League of Their Own. They played here for 2 years until the stadium burnt down. The only women's baseball team from Grand Rapids. So much history, so much lost history, I should say, in this small little spot along Division Avenue in Wyoming, Michigan. It's hard to believe. I still can't believe that Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, Bob Hope, and Satchel Paige were all here. There could have been a lot, there probably was more, but that's all I've found out to all my research and stuff. That's what I found out. There could have been a lot more famous people here. It's Grand Rapids Chicks. Can't believe they played here for 2 years also. Amazing. And there was tragedy here too, guys. Like I said, the midget car races were the most popular here. But there was also people that died here in the midget car racers. At least 4 or more race car drivers died at Bigalow Field. If it wasn't for my friend Raj that I work with, I wouldn't have known a lot about this place. And he told me about it, and he gave me some stuff to look, so I could look up and research it a little bit. And one of those racers that died here was his dad. Roger was 7 years old when his dad passed away. It was his dad's first ever race. He was a truck driver and a bus driver from Grand Rapids. But I'm making this video, guys, to remember all those that entertained us, sacrificed their lives here, showed everybody a great time. I'm doing this to trying to give a memorial of a long lost piece of Wyoming history, Grand Rapids history, sports history. And there's no plaque, like I said, there's nothing to show. Nobody even know that Bigalow Field once stood on this corner. I'm sorry, there's no like historical pieces I could show you guys or anything in this one, but I took my time to look up the history on it and did the best possible job I could to show you guys what Bigalow Field, where Bigalow Field once was. I would like to possibly put up my own little memorial, guys, here, and to remember Bigalow Field. A little memento.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old